Good morning, students. The last class we have discussed about polarization, and polarization means polarization of a wave means restricting the vibrations of the wave into a single direction, that we have defined as polarization. Now we discuss about the methods to produce polarized light. Polarized light can be produced by natural phenomena of light. That means it can be produced only by the properties of light, that is by reflection, refraction, like this. So the first method to produce polarized light is, first one is by reflection. So now polarization by reflection means the scientist named Malus has observed that when light is incident on transparent materials or dielectric materials like glass or water, it is observed that the reflected light is polarized. So when ordinary light, that means usually sunlight or ordinary light is unpolarized light. So when unpolarized light is incident on these glass or transparent materials like glass or water, the reflected light is found to be partially polarized, not completely polarized. It is only partially polarized. But the degree of variation, the content of polarization, the degree of polarization depends on angle of incidence. It is also observed that the degree of polarization, the amount of or the content of polarization is directly proportional to the angle of incidence of that incident light. So made on a number of experimental verifications, it is observed that for a particular angle of incidence, the reflected light is completely polarized. So when light is incident for any angle, the reflected light is found to be partially polarized, but for a particular angle of incidence, the reflected light is completely polarized. And that particular angle is called angle of polarization. And that angle is called angle of polarization. So the angle of incidence, if equal to a particular angle called angle of polarization, the reflected light is completely polarized. Or how it is verified like this. Suppose this is a slab of glass. Assume that it's a glass slab. Now this is incidence. An ordinary light is incident like this. So ordinary, already we know that how to represent an ordinary light. So ordinary light consists of vibrations in all possible directions. So we represent like this. That means, and all these components are resolved into only two perpendicular directions like this. So ordinary light is incident like this. This is angle of incidence, and light is incident like this. Now this light is reflected and some as this material is, we have considered that this is a transparent material. So, transparent material means it allows light into it. So, there is a refracted light like this. And if the angle of incidence I is equal to angle of polarization P, the reflected light is completely polarized. That angle consists the vibrations perpendicular to the plane of incidence, like this. That means it is polarized light, because it won't consist of this arrow components, it consists of only dot component. That means vibrations are perpendicular to the principal plane of this incidence. But the refracted ray consists of both arrow components and the dot components. Refracted ray is partially polarized and it is completely polarized. If this complete polarization takes place when this angle of incidence is equal to the angle of polarization P, and at that particular instant the refracted ray is partially polarized, and this is a natural phenomenon. This is naturally takes place. So, when light is incident on a transparent materials, the reflected light is partially polarized, but for a particular angle of incidence called angle of polarization, the reflected light is completely polarized with vibrations perpendicular to the plane of incidence. Whether now we can examine whether this particular reflected light is polarized or not. How we can examine is, we place an analyzer here. Now, if we place an analyzer here such that the plane of transmission of this analyzer is in a particular direction, it allows only light. That means, if these vibrations, now by rotating this analyzer, if there is a decrease in the intensity after this analyzer, now suppose if we observe here itself, this is the observer. Now, by slowly rotating this analyzer, if there is a decrease in intensity with the rotation, then we can say this particular light is polarized. That means, whether it is polarized or not can be examined by this analyzer. So, this is production of polarized light by reflection. That means, when an ordinary light is incident on a transparent material, the reflected light is found to be completely polarized for a particular angle of incidence, and that particular angle of incidence is called angle of polarization P. So, now we can write here it is P. And for glass it is approximately 57.5 degree. For glass it is found to be about 57.5 degree. Now, based on this, another scientist named Brewster made number of experiments, and he found experimentally that when the light is incident at the polarizing angle P, the reflected and refracted rays are perpendicular. That means, if the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of polarization P, for that particular angle of incidence, it is found that this reflected ray and refracted ray are perpendicular. Okay. Now, we consider like this, if these two rays are perpendicular, that means, if angle of incidence equal to angle of polarization P, reflected and refracted rays are perpendicular. Now, if they are perpendicular means, now if the angle of incidence is equal to P means angle of reflection is also same P, like this. So, assume that the angle of refraction is R and this is 90 degree. That means the angle between the reflected ray and the refracted ray is 90. So, this total angle is 180 degree. So, this is the normal to the surface inside and outside the surface. So, this total angle is 180. Now, if we count this total, so angle P plus angle 90 plus angle R is equal to 180. That means P plus R is equal to 90, R is equal to 90 minus P. Okay. Now, we have this condition. So, R is equal to 90 minus P. Now, by Snell's law, the refractive index of this medium is given by mu is equal to sin I by sin R. But the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of polarization P and angle of reflection is equal to refraction is equal to 90 minus P. So, we can write like this, mu is equal to sin P by sin R, that is sin P by sin 90 minus P. But sin 90 minus P is cos P. So, sin P by cos P and that equal to tan P. Therefore, mu is equal to tan P. And this is called Brewster's law. This is called Brewster's law. That means the tangent of angle of polarization is equal to the refractive index of this medium. So, from that relation we can calculate the angle of polarization for a particular medium, that is P is equal to tan inverse mu. Here mu is the refractive index of the medium. So, that means the angle of polarization, from this relation we can calculate the angle of polarization for a particular transparent material. That means that is given by P is equal to inverse tangent of the refractive index of the medium. So, P equal to tan inverse mu. So, this is the production of polarized light by reflection. So, what we do? First, Malus observed that the light reflected from a transparent material is found to be partially polarized, but for a particular angle of incidence, the reflected light is found to be completely polarized, and that angle of incidence is called angle of polarization, denoted by P. And if when the light is incident at the polarizing angle P, in that particular state, in that condition, the reflected and refracted rays are found to be perpendicular, and by that we can derive this mu is equal to tan P, and this is called Brewster's law. Okay. Now, the second method is by reflection. Now, polarization by refraction. Now, the polarization by refraction. In this method, already we know when light is incident on a glass plate, the reflected light is found to be partially polarized, and if the incident light is equal to the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of polarization, then the reflected light is completely polarized. Under that condition, the refracted ray is partially polarized because it has filtered some dot components. So, we know like this. when light is incident, reflected and refracted, and this is completely polarized. It is unpolarized light is incident on it. So, it consists of only arrow components and combined components, because in this both it is only arrow component, but it consists of both components like this. That means this particular refracted ray is partially polarized. Suppose assume that we can arrange number of glass plates one over the other like this. Suppose this is one glass plate, another glass plate like this. Now what happens when ordinary light is incident on it like this? The reflected ray consists of only dot components, but the refracted ray consists of partially polarized. But when it is incident on the second surface, some dot components are eliminated again, and again the refracted ray is partially polarized. Okay. That means if we take two glass plates like this, so when it is incident on the first one, some dot components are eliminated, so that the refracted ray becomes partially polarized, and now it is incident again on the second surface like this. Again some more dot components are eliminated, and so that in this way, now suppose if it is incident in another plate like this, second surface, what happens is some more dot components are eliminated, so that in this way, by filtering through number of glass plates, suppose if we arrange number of glass plates like this, so that at every surface some dot components are eliminated or filtered, so that finally the refracted ray transmitting this series of glass plates is found to be polarized, completely polarized. Okay. Now, a stack of glass plates arranged one over the other, a stack of glass plates one over the other, and incident, and the light is made to incident on the first surface at the polarizing angle, so that light on passing through all these glass plates finally becomes completely polarized. And this is how we can produce this reflected polarized light by refraction, is by pile of glass plates. Actually, these now, this is a pile of glass plates. That means to produce a refracted polarized light by refraction, it is nearly 16 to 17 glass plates are required. That means about 16 to 17 glass plates are arranged one over the other and held in a suitable cylinder, cylindrical structure. They are arranged in a cylinder like this. They are arranged in a cylinder, and these glass plates are arranged in the cylinder such that they will make an angle 32.5 degree with the axis of this cylinder. That means this angle is 32 degree, about 32.5 degree. Now, if we draw a normal to this surface, it will be like this. Now, if light is incident in this direction, now that means light is made to incident along the axis of the cylinder, so that it becomes, the angle with the normal becomes 52.5 degree, 57.5 degree. So that the light incident on this first glass plate will be 57.5, means it is angle of polarization for glass. So that first dot components are eliminated like this. when ordinary unpolarized light is incident along the axis, so that dot components are eliminated at the first surface and second surface, at the third surface, fourth surface, fifth surface, like this. That means at every surface these dot components are eliminated, so that finally the light emerging from the last glass plate, it will be only of arrow components, like this. That means it is polarized light with vibrations in the plane of incidence. Okay? But these rays are perpendicular to the plane of incidence, but the refracted light, it is polarized with vibrations in the plane of incidence. So, this is the second method of producing polarized light. The first method is by reflection, second method is by refraction. Refraction, we need a number of glass plates or a stack of glass plates arranged in a cylinder such that these glass plates are arranged with a 32.5 degree with the axis of the cylinder, so that if light is incident along the axis of the cylinder, it makes an angle of incidence 57.5 degree. That means that is the polarizing angle for the glass, so that at every surface or at every it undergoes successive reflections. At every reflection, these dot components are filtered, so that it becomes finally the emergent light from the end at the last glass plate will be of completely polarized light, like with vibrations in the plane of incidence, or the final light emerging from the last glass plate is found to be consists of only arrow components, because these dot components are eliminated in the reflections. Okay. This is the method, second method of producing refraction, method of producing polarized light. Okay. Now, the third method is by scattering. Third method is by scattering. But as we know, scattering means when sunlight enters into the atmosphere, it undergoes collisions with the dust particles in the atmosphere or the gas molecules, atoms of the gas molecules, so that they will exchange, so that the electrons in the atoms or molecules of the gas air, they will undergo collision, so that they will absorb this light energy and electrons will vibrate about their mean positions and they will emit radiations. That means here scattering means it will absorb energy, they will excite and a re-emission of energy, so that they will emit the light radiations in all possible directions. But it is observed that when light is incident, sunlight is incident like this on a scatterer, suppose this is the scatterer, and it is observed that in a perpendicular direction to this direction of incidence, the light is, the scattered light in the direction perpendicular to this incident light direction, it is highly polarized. But in any direction, it is partially polarized. Okay. That means sunlight or everything, ordinary light. So, this is by the method of scattering. So, when sunlight or ordinary light is incident on a scatterer, the scattered radiation, when we observe the scattered radiation through perpendicular direction to this direction of incidence, in this direction this light is found to be strongly polarized or highly polarized, but in any other direction it is partially polarized. So, this is the another method of producing scattering light. This scattering light is nothing but, scattering means collision of light molecules, light with the dust particles in the atmosphere, so that they will absorb energy and they will excite there and so that in their vibration they will emit radiation. So that means it is absorption and re-emission of energy. If that re-emitted energy is in all directions, out of which the direction which is perpendicular to the incident light, in that particular direction only the light is strongly polarized. Okay. This is the another method of producing polarization. So polarization of light is polarized light is produced by natural phenomena only, and that is by reflection, refraction, scattering. And there is another method to produce polarization is by double refraction. Polarization by double refraction. As we know, when light is incident on a transparent material, it on entering into it we get only one refracted ray. Suppose if we take a material like this, when light is incident like this, some part is reflected, another is refracted. That means we get a refracted ray. But there are some anisotropic crystals naturally occurring. There are some anisotropic crystals which are occurring in nature, like calcite, quartz, are observed to be when light is anisotropic crystals like calcite and quartz. This anisotropic means, the meaning of this anisotropic means their physical properties changes with respect to direction. That means, suppose if we take refractive index as a physical property, then it is not constant in all directions. If it is constant in a material in all directions, then we say it is isotropic. Anisotropic means the physical properties varies with direction. Such crystals are called anisotropic crystals, and such in such anisotropic crystal like calcite and quartz, when light enters into these crystals, light on entering into those crystals, instead of a single ray, it will split into two refracted rays. In ordinary glass, what we observe is a single refracted ray. But when light is allowed to pass through these crystals, light on entering into these crystals, it splits into two rays. Instead of one refracted ray, it splits into two refracted rays, and this property is called double refraction. That means, instead of single refraction, the light undergoes two refractions, that is called double refraction, and the crystals exhibiting this property of double refraction are called double refracting crystals. They are usually calcite and quartz. Okay? And that means when light is incident or allowed to pass through certain naturally occurring anisotropic crystals, light undergoes, or light on entering into those crystals splits into two refracted rays instead of one refracted ray, and this property is called double refraction. Suppose if this light, assume that this is the light incident like this, it undergoes two refracted rays. That means natural unpolarized light. Is incident on this double refracting crystal. Okay, it undergoes two refracted rays, it splits into two refracted rays, and these two rays are called extraordinary ray, ordinary ray. These rays are called extraordinary ray, ordinary ray. Simply they are called E ray and O ray. Okay. When ordinary light is incident. Okay. So, ordinary and extraordinary, both the rays are plane polarized, but their vibrations are in two perpendicular directions. In the case of ordinary ray, the vibrations are perpendicular to the principal section, and in the case of extraordinary ray, these vibrations are within the plane of principal section. Okay. Okay. This is another method of producing double polarized light. This is also a natural phenomenon, and by the nature of the crystal itself, the both extraordinary ray and ordinary ray are plane polarized. So, these are the different methods to produce polarization by polarization of light, methods to produce polarized light. They are by reflection, refraction, scattering, and this double refraction. Okay. And in this case, we can, in this extraordinary ray and ordinary ray, both these rays are plane polarized, but their properties differ. Whereas, why it is ordinary ray is this particular ray obeys the ordinary laws of refraction. That is, it obeys Snell's law, but it does not obey Snell's law. That is why it is extraordinary ray. And this light is plane polarized, ordinary light is plane polarized with vibrations perpendicular to the principal section, and this is plane polarized with vibrations within the principal section, in the principal section of the crystal. Okay. So, this obeys Snell's law, it does not obey Snell's law. It is plane polarized with vibrations perpendicular to the principal section, it is plane polarized with vibrations within the principal section. Okay. And how to determine which is extraordinary and ordinary ray? Suppose if we take a white paper and put an ink mark on it, a dot like this. Now, if we place a thin slab of glass on this particular dot, what we observe is, we observe a dot, single dot, as it is refracted, because glass undergoes only single refraction. But when a double refracting crystal is kept on this dot, it appears to be two dots. So, ordinary glass is placed on that dot, we get one, it appears to be one dot. But when it is placed on when a double refracting crystal is placed on that dot, it appears to be two dots are observed, and that means one corresponds to ordinary image and second one is extraordinary image. One is ordinary, the second one is extraordinary. That means two images are produced due to two rays. Now, how we can determine which is ordinary image, which is extraordinary image is, suppose if we slowly rotate this double refracting crystal on that particular dot, if one of the image remains stationary, one of the image rotates along with the rotation in the direction of rotation of the crystal. Okay? That means, when we slowly rotate this crystal, one of the image remains stationary and one of the image rotates along with the direction of rotation of the crystal. So, the image which is stationary is called ordinary image. The image which is rotating with the rotation of the crystal is extraordinary image. Okay. In this way, we can determine ordinary and extraordinary images. So,